Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm Mike Stansbury. Today I've got Rich Walker from California. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for the introduction.
Yes, sir, man. We're live now. We're having fun.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, hey, let's pay the bills first. At Investor Fuel, folks, that's the sponsor of our podcast. We help people, real estate investors, those are our people that we help, service providers and real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted and live the lives they've always dreamed of. So, Rich, let me ask you this. You're 25 years into this real estate career.
Yeah.
When did you begin to walk on this yellow brick road? What were you doing beforehand, and how did you get steered in this direction?
Okay, so I started out my early life thinking that I was going to be a brain surgeon. So that's literally what I thought I would do for the rest of my life. Got into college, did pretty well in school, but then my dad was a real estate broker, so I'm second generation. And he calls me, and to make ends meet, I started selling alarms door to door. That was my first real job, right? So I did really well as a marketing manager. I'm out in the middle of nowhere at 10 o'clock at night waiting for my crew to come in. My dad calls me and says, "Hey, I need you to take over the business. I'm going to Belize for a month." I was like, "Okay, everything okay?" He was like, "Yeah, I made $100,000 this month." I was like, "You did what?" And at that time, I'm thinking, maybe I make $200,000 as a, I'm very money driven at that time.
Right.
And so I was like, okay.
A year.
In a year, right. And so then I was like, do I go to school for another 10 years to make $200,000, or do I try to do what my dad's doing, right? And so, like, his background is a little different. It was commercial. He was in the savings and loan. He went through the crash. But I started out as his agent and did really well, straight out the top, just really started getting after it. We could do loans back then, so I'm double dipping, I'm making money with loans. I'm doing property management, and then the market crash hit. And then I didn't adjust. I didn't pivot because I'm looking at my dad, who's in a way different financial position than me, and I'm taking cues from him. So I had to totally revamp myself. Someone came to my house to buy my house at foreclosure, and then I ended up working for him as what we call a gopher. And I did that for about a year, made him a bunch of money, and he didn't want to pay me more money. So I said, forget it, I'll go get my own investors. And then I started flipping and buying at the auction.
All right, so that's how it all starts. So you got hit. Everybody. So this is a funny thread because I ask everybody both their origin stories, and everybody's got that pivot point. 2008 was like a slap in the face.
Yeah, it was.
What I love about it is like most people, that's where their story ends, right?
Yeah,
that's where their story ends. They're like, well, I'm going to go back to being a brain surgeon or whatever, or slinging packages at FedEx or whatever they were doing because this real estate game just wiped me out. And you said, all right, well, how do I, you said you didn't pivot, but it sounds like you maybe got to rock bottom and then figured out how to move up from there. So tell me from helping, doing the foreclosure deal, when did you get your first investors, and when did you do your kind of first deal on your own? What did that look like?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Okay, so yeah, when that person decided to not bring me into the fold, I went and took one client, basically helped him buy a property, and I realized that property I could have saved him about $100,000 if we bought it at auction. I approached him with the auction buy because he used to buy cash, and we ended up doing one, but he was limited on how much money he could put out. So then we started talking because we had some traction, and we spoke to an investor who managed a hedge fund. And this guy, we show up in suits. We're all decked up. He comes out in like Hawaiian shirt and sandals. We're like, oh, this guy's not serious. He ends up living up in over in San Francisco. And he says, you know what? Come by my house. I got a check for $2 million for you. And so we were just real, we were very real, very raw, just like, hey, we work harder than we over deliver, under promise. We're not those kind of people. And so once he kicked out that money, we turned that $2 million to $6 million and turned over 100 flips in about a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah. And we got straight to it. Mm-hmm.
Got straight to it. So that's a pretty good record. Like that's something that you can obviously build on. So, so you showed up in suits. This guy's wearing Hawaiian shirts. And so, I mean, he obviously saw something in you guys. How did you pitch him? I mean, what did that look like when you knew he was somebody that had money and the resources? How did it turn? When did you know, okay, this guy's wearing this shirt because he can, and he's relaxed, or what did that look like, Rich?
I didn't realize that until he actually told us come get the money, because literally we came with the numbers. I mean, my dad, like I said, he was a commercial loan mortgage broker. I'm pre-med, so I'm kind of analytical at this time. So we come with all the numbers, we come with all the statistics, we show what we've done. We're in Stockton at the time, which some people believe was ground zero for the market collapse, right? So we happen to be right place, right time. And he had his feelers out in multiple counties near us, but ours looked to be, to be able to produce the most. So anyway, he manages like a $500 million hedge fund. And so this was kind of small, but this was just like feeler money for him,
Right. This was just a flyer, right?
Yeah, it was a flyer. So I called Wells Fargo. I think I might have had like 10 grand in the bank. I go to Wells Fargo. I'm like, hey, I want to open up an account. And they're like, okay, cool. Okay, what do you want to start with? Oh, I have this check. And they're like, for how much? I said, $2 million. Okay, come to this room.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I knew he was serious when he stopped kind of like looking at his phone and looking around and started asking us some questions and making eye contact. And we weren't trying to sell him because we knew what we had.
Right.
We just spoke. We spoke from the heart. We didn't overpromise. And then once we got the opportunity, we got straight to it.
So one of the things, again, I just see this in you. So because you have an analytical kind of engineering type brain, I mean, you were kind of focused on being a brain surgeon, going to medical school. That is a heavy lift. It's that's not easy. So I imagine when it comes to numbers in real estate, you're very dialed in specific, and you don't want to fluff it up. If you got a guy and he's like, oh, he may or may not have $2 million, you're still going to do the same thing. You're still going to go over the numbers and see where, hey, here's where the win is at if we had the resources. And that's probably when he just put down his phone and kind of like, okay, this guy's he's not trying to pitch me this. He's showing me what is Realville. That's an awesome story. So, so you do that. You flip his 2 million into 6 million by using hard assets and a down market. So where does Real Estate Rich go from there? What happens after that? And do you still have a relationship with him? What's that look like?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Oh yeah, no, I still have a relationship with him. He's a good guy. He kind of ran into a little bit of trouble because we're making big moves. Matter of fact, I would say 80% of the people that were doing what I was doing ended up in federal prison. We didn't. Yeah, we were able to avoid the FBI and the IRS. But you have to be very careful in this business when you're making money. You have to be careful of dotting your I's and crossing your T's because it starts happening quick. You can't cut corners, right? And so we were very good about that. I'm working with my father too, so he's not just going to let me,
Right.
cut corners. But so then what happened with us was we did all this activity, and then Blackstone came in and basically like just destroyed our business model. And so what they did was they were coming in and buying for above market because their goal was to keep the property, rent it out or not, and then sell it. And they were right. The market tripled, within that time frame. But what I ended up doing was going back to school. So I ended up switching from pre-med, went to general business, and then went to law school because I wanted to become a real estate attorney. And so I'm coming from these different aspects, and I know how to deal with investors. I'm really good with numbers. I love numbers. And so when I'm negotiating and talking to someone, I'm trying to find their number. Like, that's all I'm trying to find. Like, literally, what's your number? Because I feel like any deal can work. It's just when people let their ego get into it or they're greedy, right? But if you know how to kind of navigate that, empathize with people, put yourself in their position, and you can find their number, there's no reason for them not to work with you, right? As long as their number works for you.
Yeah. And so you end up going to law school. Did you end up getting the law degree and becoming a real estate attorney, or what did that look like?
No, because it's kind of boring. That's a boring life.
It's a boring life.
I need a little more excitement.
Listen, I owned a part of a closing company. It was the worst thing I ever did. It didn't work out. It worked out, but it's not a fun business to be in. You got to have a little more juice than
they're going through and they're discussing variances, and they're petitioning the planning commission, and it just wasn't the life. Actually, the top guy in my city, I was getting recruited by the district attorney to work in the real estate fraud division. Mm-hmm. I served on the civil grand jury, but it just wasn't the life for me. I just wasn't excited about it. And then I ended up getting into commercial development. So after that was commercial development. And then that led me to Airbnbs and furnished spaces. So from there, it led to assisted living facilities, which I'm inside of our flagship property right now over in Galt. So we have a 10-bedroom licensed care facility. And then from there, it turned into developing care facilities. So that's where I'm at now.
So that's where you're at now. So you're in the assisted living facility. And so are these 10-room houses, or are they 10-room facilities? What is that? Because I've seen guys, they go in and they reconfigure maybe an older mansion kind of house or 5,000, 6,000 square foot house. And then I see people doing the build from ground up assisted living facilities. Yeah. Tell me more about that, Rich.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah, so this one we actually, at the point where I was, a few years ago when I started this, I had owned so many properties, and then, I'd gone through so much with it. So let me try this, arbitrage or lease strategy, right? So we went and leased this 10-bedroom place. Really good rent, worked out the terms. Like I said, I like to negotiate. And so it's a 10-bedroom, 6-bath over in Galt. But because of the way it's set up, we can only have 6 bedrooms, right? And so, that's a moneymaker, but it's not retirement money, right? So then in my mind, it became, okay, how do I expand? And so then I started putting my fillers out. That's how things work with me. I started putting my fillers out, ended up running into this 80-bed facility in Montana that needed work, right? So, okay, well, how do I do that? Because who has $6 million to invest in this property, right? It can generate $500,000 a month, right? So, but where do I find that? Luckily, I have all these developer contacts, and then just like I said, I'm good at connecting dots.
Right.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not really I'm not good at swinging the hammer. I definitely wouldn't have been a good surgeon, but I'm great at connecting dots.
Yeah, that's right. That's so. That would be your superpower is connecting people. Because what I know about people with money,
Yeah,
people that have money and that want to keep their money, they're always looking to places to park their money and things
exactly.
that work and do well. And they want people with a track record and that know how to operate. And so people who connect people and get to know people and help them. Like one of the things you just did earlier is, especially when you talk to the first person that helped you out, is you just showed them, hey, this is how we can all win together. You didn't pitch them. You just said, hey, here's what's going on. Here's how you can win in the marketplace. And it's the same thing with people with money. People are always afraid to go out there and generate maybe their own sources for deals and sources for money. People with money want to hear about how you can help them, not how
Yeah.
you can make a bunch of money. They don't want to
Right.
hear that. They want to hear how you can help them keep their principal and make a better return than stock market, Bitcoin, and all the other stuff. And
Yeah.
that sounds like what you do.
What I've found is that besides the numbers, besides the building that you're in or the car you drive, it's building that trust, right?
Right.
So confidence leads to trust. Trust leads to action, right? So these guys, like you said, if their money's not making money, they're losing money,
They're
right? And
losing
we're
money.
talking
Yeah.
about people with huge amounts of money that are really hard for the average person to kind of fathom. And they need something, they need somewhere to park that. They're so used to people coming up with the snake oil that when someone has the real stuff, it's almost like unbelievable. The only
Yeah.
way to build that is to, hey, look, man, I'm not trying to sell you on anything.
Right.
Literally, if you don't decide to work with me, somebody's going to work with me.
Right.
I'm someone that perseveres and pushes through. You're not my retirement plan, right?
Right.
My retirement plan is helping other people get to the point where I've been, and then hopefully reach a new plateau that I couldn't even see.
Yep. I like
That's
it.
my goal.
Yeah. So Richard, tell me a little bit more about you and your local market. You're doing the. Do you still do fix and flips? How are you? Are you coaching or mentoring people? What does that look like?
Yeah. So I have a real estate company called Real Estate Rich Academy. And so what I found as a real estate professional, I was always consulting people anyway, right?
Right.
Hoping for that commission down the road. Sometimes I consult people so well that they would go and take that information to another agent and help them to get a commission. I was really good at it, right? And so what I found was, okay, well, if I'm doing that anyway, let me find a model that I can, help people make it reasonable, and then show proof of concept, make enough money to where they're like, oh yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. Then I don't have to sell myself so much. I can actually go out there and do what I love, which is talking to people and help them get to their next level. So, but one thing that kind of flipped for me in my consulting company is when I realized that the hard money lending market is very wide open right now. And so, a lot of these investors that would have never been able to get into the projects that I'm working on now because they would have had 30 or 40% down, right? Plus, where's their construction costs coming from? The hard money lenders make it very easy now. So they do like a credit-based blended type of lending environment, right? So then what I do is I go out and find investors who are like my seed capital. So I don't have to use gap lending. If I do use gap lending, it's very expensive, but it may be less expensive than private money, right? So
Right.
just kind of weighing that on the various projects. And then the goal for me now is just to go find as many projects as possible and then, put the funding behind it.
Okay. So are we talking about, because I just heard this described and I've seen the model done before, is somebody creates a debt fund where, maybe they have somebody that say, have a couple $1 million, like your friend has a couple $1 million. And here I can offer you 9%. Once you park it with me, I'm going to give you 9%. But what I've got to do really quickly is go out there and find those flicks and flippers or developments that, you can put that money into, and then you make the arbitrage. You charge 2 or 3 points, and then you charge them 12 or 13% interest, and you're making 4% interest or something like that. Is that the model, or is it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So basically in real estate investing, right, you're either, you don't have enough projects or you don't have enough capital, right? And you're always, you find a project, now you're looking for the capital. And then you lose the project, you have the capital and you don't have the project. You have to go find another one, right? So so what I did was I basically, for me, the chicken or the egg, the chicken is first, the chicken is the project. So once I started developing the projects, then the funding was fine. I was finding the funding.
Yes.
Because I have projects to talk about, right?
Right. That's always the interesting thing is like if you find a good deal, the money will come to you. You can just go out there and market for it. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. And that's what ended up happening. And then the crazy part is once I found the smaller projects and then found the funding, now the larger projects are starting to open themselves up. So now we're looking at a 40,000 square foot. I mean, this place has been abandoned for 15 years. These people spent $15 million on it 15 years ago, and it never produced anything for them. It was a church. And we might be able to get into it for a fifth of that and then turn it into a real money maker, right? So because of my legal background, I'm able to go in there and do this creative acquisitions where, hey, we might do a seller carry, we might do some kind of profit share in the future. And I know how to create those documents, right? I know how to actually write those things. But if you don't have that, you just find someone that does, because there's people out there. You just have to know the words to speak to them and have the plan that's big enough to kind of incorporate them and make sure they get their piece,
I like it. Well, Richard, where can people find out more about you on the internet, on the web? If they wanted to reach out to you, if they're in your market and they wanted to help from Real Estate Rich and get on the academy, where can they find you at?
Right. So we're planting seeds in Montana, Missouri, Texas, but my home base is in California. If they want to reach me, they go to realestaterichacademy.com or Real Estate Rich Academy on Facebook or Real Estate Rich Academy on Instagram or Real Estate Rich on LinkedIn.
All right. We'll have it all in the show notes below. Hey, Rich, man, it was a pleasure getting to know you. I love the story. I always love the origin story and the hero's journey. It looks like you're doing well there and helping a lot of people. Folks, thanks for watching the Real Estate Pros podcast. If you want to get in touch with Rich, his information will be below. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.